Hey guys, Jason here for TheChartGuys, trying to make a very specific technical video on trends and trend changes and how I utilize that macro information for my investment decisions. If you recognize this company from its chart, please don't mention it. I'm not going to mention the name of the company because ultimately it doesn't matter. This is a teaching tool. So what I want to do is show you what I'm looking for in trends, in long-term trends, and potential trend changes for additions to investments. I am an investor in this company. I trade it, but I also invest it. I have not added to my long-term investment positions for several months based on this chart. So when I'm looking at this, I ask myself, is this a good time to invest in this chart? Do I see signs of strength? Do I see signs of reversal? And the answer to that is right now, no, I do not see any signs of reversal. So I'm looking at this. I see a Marabuzzo close. I see good volume. I have a potential support, but we're 16 cents away from that support. We don't have a lot of room for a reversal to take place. It may happen. It may not. But what happens at that level and how we react to it and how the chart reacts to it is absolutely key. So currently, looking at this chart, I don't see any signs of strength. We are setting lower highs and lower lows on the monthly time frame, and we are currently experiencing a lot of downside momentum. We're trying to find out where we may indeed see a new low. Is it going to be a lower low under 4.5, or is it going to be a lower low under 1.7? We don't know until we get there and we start to see strength. Right now, no strength. Weekly time frame, very similar story. From 8.2, we are setting lower highs and lower lows consistently. No signs of strong long-term strength. In each case that we see a little bit of a bump, we get an hourly trend. That hourly trend changes. It shows weakness for various reasons, and we continue to the downside. So we'll investigate one of those as we get into it. Let's mark it out right now because that would be a good counter trend and probably would have looked like strength to a lot of people. But on the weekly time frame, we are seeing lower highs, lower lows, and currently seeing no signs of strength. So on the monthly and weekly time frame, I see no reason to consider a long-term position in this particular company. On the daily time frame, we're getting lower lows, lower highs. Again, a daily downtrend with no strength. Now here is that counter trend that we talked about that had an opportunity, we'll call it, for some sort of long-term entry. And had you bought in right around this $3 mark, you would have had a week or two where things were looking up, and you possibly even had a great 25% return on your trade if you managed to capitalize on the extreme ranges of this move. However, we did not even get a real true trend change in this daily trend. So we set our low at 3.18. We set our high at 4.31. Did we get a new higher low over 3.18? We didn't. So our trend never actually changed. Here we are setting lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. We get a higher high, great, but we get right back into it, setting a lower low under 3.18. And that's how we got faked out of that trend change. We did not lock in that hour or that daily trend change with a nice higher low over 3.18. Bulls just did not have it. Then we get right back to it, a lower high, lower low. Currently sitting at 1.86. So on the daily time frame, do we see any reason to get in? Is there any strength right now? No, there's not. On the 4-hour time frame, very similar story. We're going to look at a lot of the same things that we just checked out. However, here's a 4-hour trend change. We get our high, 3.45, a higher low, 3.21 over 3.14. We get our high, 3.16. But we failed to set a higher low over 3.21. That trend change is gone, goes right back to the bearish. We get rejected from EMA 26. We collapse, bounce from EMA 12, bounce back up to EMA 12, and now we're sitting at 1.86 again. Hourly time frame, very similar. Lower highs, lower lows. Are you understanding what I'm getting at? Like on each time frame, no matter how far you drill down, you see this consistent weakness, this consistent pattern of lower highs, lower lows, and even when you get in nice tightening ranges like we saw today, we saw a quick break and continuation of the downside. And I suspect if you go back in the 5-minute time frame, you're going to see a whole heck of a lot of this on this particular ticker. So what am I looking for? For a long-term investment choice in this particular ticker, I need to see those trends change, and I need to see them confirmed. I need to see an hourly trend change that looks like this, that has a high, a low, a higher high, and then I need to see that nice higher low form. I need to see that price come down. I need to see a base of support built, and then I need to see the trend change and get a high over 4.31, for example. And then I need to start stair-stepping, and I need to build that support and have that good volume. And then, and only then, am I going to be starting to scout for long-term entry. Yeah, I'm going to miss out on some of that opportunity. I may even miss out on a whole dollar's worth of range as I wait for that consolidation and as I wait for those bases of support to be established. But when we do get into that and we do get a long-term trend change, we're going to go from 1.86, and let's say I miss a whole dollar there. Let's move this guy up to 2.86. Maybe I miss out on that whole dollar's range. But if I time my entry and I watch my entry and I've got an hourly and a 4-hour and a daily and a weekly trend in my favor, that has so much more strength and potential for a long-term move that would like something like we saw way back in 2017, 2018. And I'm much more comfortable making investments, long-term investments, when those trends are behind me. They've got your back or they're supporting you. It's just a lot easier to trade. And we get these great opportunities like we saw way back here. So what's the point of this video? Well, I want you to understand what I'm looking for when I see a long-term trend. I want to see that strength. I want to see that consistency. And I want to see those signs of reversal. Because until we see that strength come in, there's absolutely no reason to believe that this can't continue to go to the downside and break below 1.7 and ultimately break below 1.2. There's no reason to believe it can't go further than this. And if you invest today, you can watch that dwindle all the way down below $1, below 50 cents, and below 25 cents. And if you had waited for those trends to change and waited for that information to be presented to you in a factual, tangible way that you could utilize, you can make so much more money investing in this space.